Right now, it's ABC24 This Week with Richard Ransom.
Welcome to ABC24 This Week. We are here every Sunday at 9 a.m. and 10:35 p.m. to bring you the real story behind the big stories. And this week, there is no bigger story than the Memphis city election, voters in the Bluff City choosing a new mayor and a new city council. And we'll get to all of that in the next 30 minutes here. But for our first segment today, we're happy to start things off with the new mayor-elect, Paul Young, who's graciously agreed to be here in the studio with us less than 24 hours as we take this on a Friday afternoon after winning the city's top job. Of course, I'm also joined by ABC24 political analyst Otis, Sanford. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
On the big win.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Memphis has a new mayor. Your kids must be very proud, 8 and 12 years old.
They are very proud. The eight-year-old doesn't care as much, but the 12-year-old really appreciates it.
Very good. I am fascinated by your campaign because here you walked into this basically as a bureaucrat. I mean, you're behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You learned how the sausage was made, so to speak. You had no name recognition. You'd never held office before. All these big endorsements within the power structure of Memphis went with somebody else.
Right.
And yet you were able to do this and get more funding than anybody else. And I just wonder, would you approach this from the onset? What was your strategy? Did you anticipate that it was going to be a two-man race, a three-man race, a four-man race? And how did it evolve in a way that might have surprised you that you weren't expecting?
Well, I certainly didn't anticipate it being a 17-person race. And I also didn't anticipate, former Mayor Harrington getting in the race and having, the name recognition that he brings to bear. But when I started, I had a mission. And my mission was to work on behalf of the people of this city. And I knew one thing, that nobody in the race was going to outwork me. I said it in every interview, in every forum. Nobody's going to outwork me. So the money that we raised was because of hard work. The doors that we knocked on, because of hard work. And the hard work was rewarded last night, and it felt very good. But we know we have a lot more work to do. And so the way that I would usually say it is that nobody's going to outwork me before the campaign, and then no one's going to outwork me after I get the job.
Okay. Otis.
Mayor-elect Young, somewhat similar to Richard's question. What message do you think the voters were sending in this election? You and Van Turner were the youngest of the four major candidates, and you got more votes than Floyd Bonner and Willie Harrington combined as the two oldest of the major candidates. So and turnout was low, but what do you think the overall message that voters were trying to send here?
I think there comes a time when there's always time for the next generation of leadership to step up. And we've seen it happen in cities all across this country. We're not the only city to elect a mayor that is under the age of 45. About 11 major cities across the country have done it over the past 5 or 6 years. And so Memphis is no different. We're always looking for the next generation of leadership, and they want that person to be prepared. And I think the message that the city was sending was that we're ready. And it's that time.
Okay. In your victory speech, there was one point where you talked about this being an election of transformation, that you wanted to get rid of the hopelessness in favor of being hopeful. Poverty to prosperity, I think you said, hurt to healed, stalled to thriving. Amen to all of that.
Amen.
But it is a tall order. And I wonder, how do you want us and the media and the public to measure your success and whether you're achieving your goals as your term progresses? Should there a 1-year marker? Should it be a 2-year marker? What are you thinking? 100 days?
I mean, we're dealing with issues that have been plaguing us for the last 60, 70 years. What I want the people to judge our administration on are indications of progress. And so you're not going to see poverty completely alleviated in 4 years, but you should see indications of progress. You should see the numbers slowly going down. You should see things trending in the right direction. And so that's what I hope to be measured on. All of those statistics that we talk about, whether it's the poverty rate, health in our communities, the level of blight that we're seeing in our communities, the instances of violence in our community, we want to see it trending in the right direction, and that's my goal.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that there were 17 candidates in this race. And I wonder if you would tell us what your views are on this push to go to either runoffs in the next election or even partisan politics, partisan primaries. you will be affected by that because I assume that you plan to run for re-election.
Yeah.
Which one would you be in favor of? Are you in favor of it? And how active will you be in trying to make sure that that happens?
I'm not a supporter of partisan primaries. I believe that it's just unnecessary in a city election. There's more divisiveness, but I do believe we need a runoff. It makes just logical sense. We want the elected leader of our city to have a true mandate, to have the majority of the people say, this is who we want. And I would be a strong supporter and advocate for a runoff because I've said it many times on the campaign. It's not about me. It's not about my odds of winning. It's about what's best for this city. I truly and firmly believe it. Like, I really don't want to be a politician. I just want this job. It just so happens that in order to get this job, I have to go through a political process. And so I want to help make the best decisions that are going to move our city forward for the future.
So you will, assuming the city council approves, let's say the runoffs, you will actively support that.
Absolutely.
If it goes, when it goes to a referendum vote.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you may have also made some news when Otis said, I assume you want to run for re-election. Are you thinking that this is an 8-year job, not a 4-year job?
I think you always have to think in that time frame, but obviously when we get 3.5 years in, we'll make a decision on what we'll do. But I presume so.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I wanted to ask you about the turnout. I think if there was a winner, in my view, you could make the case anyway, that cynicism was the winner last night. The candidate, and I've seen the chatter on social media, once again, the candidate that raised the most money won. We have 7 incumbents that are staying on city council. They got reelected. They don't really feel like there was a push to really change things. What would you say to folks who have that feeling of cynicism about what happened?
Certainly turnout was not what we wanted, but I certainly wouldn't look at the election in that way. The candidate that had the most money also had the most donors. In fact, more donors than all the other campaigns combined. That's not politics as usual. That's engagement in a way that we haven't even seen in our city ever before. And I hadn't tested all of them, but I would guarantee we've knocked on more doors than every one of them combined because we were out here doing the work. And so I think we changed the way politics looks. We had a lot of attack ads coming our way. Didn't respond. We could have, but we didn't, because that's not the message we wanted to send to our community. I don't think that you need to see high-level African-American leaders in our city throwing mud at each other. Talk about your vision for how you're going to move this city forward. That was my goal, and I think we saw something different in our city because I was the one that won. Because people were saying, well, people like a fight in Memphis. They want to see you fight. And I said, we're going to fight with optimism and hope. That's how we're going to fight. And that's what won.
Okay. Still, you got 7% if you look at your total vote count versus how many registered voters there are, 373,000 in Memphis.
Yeah.
Your 25,000 is about 7%.
Right.
What does that say about, do you think, the level of people who are just really discouraged with what you can possibly do?
I think that's just voter apathy in general. We live in a world where people don't feel connected to the politics. They feel like no matter who's in office, conditions don't change in my neighborhood. No matter who's here. What happens to my kid tomorrow is going to be the same. And so it's incumbent upon me and all the other elected officials in our community to educate the community on why that's important. Not just so that I can win an election, but so we can change the outcomes for the people in our city.
Okay. In the time we have left, we probably have about 2 or 3 rapid fire kind of questions for you. The first one that I have is about the police department and specifically the police chief. You said during the campaign that you're not going to hire, you're not going to announce fires during the campaign. But now that you are the mayor-elect, I assume you're going to have a sit-down with Chief Davis. What are your thoughts about that, and what are your thoughts about her future?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have a sit-down with Chief Davis. I think it's too early to say what will happen in the future. I mean, I want to hear where her head is. What does she think about being in the role? But we're going to have those dialogues over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be announcing our transition team, and more to come on that.
Okay.
Mayor Strickland campaigned twice on the crime issue. It helped him win election both times, yet crime is worse now than it's ever been. So it has been an albatross not only around his time as mayor, but mayors before him too.
Right.
We can't just put it on one man. But What do you think is the one or two keys to changing that trajectory as you look at it right now?
I think the most important thing is to elevate the urgency. Right now, what Memphians want is someone to hear their cries and their pleas, and they feel like no one's listening because everything they see is people pointing fingers and saying, well, it's this person's fault, it's the DA's fault, it's the judge's fault, it's the mayor's fault, it's the police chief's fault. It's all of our fault. So now that that's out of the way, what are we going to do? I want to elevate the urgency. I want people to see us all at the table on a frequent basis working to reduce the level of violence that we see in our community, and that's what they're going to get.
Okay.
And finally, for me, there's been a lot of talk lately about the renovations to our sports stadiums.
Yeah.
FedEx Forum and the Liberty, Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. There wasn't a lot said during the campaign about that. There was some. But now that you are mayor-elect, what are you going to do about this in terms of setting some priorities?
Well, first, I want to have conversations with all of the stakeholders and understand what the priorities for them are. But I know we have, just from my perspective on the outside looking in, we want to make sure that Grizzlies stay in Memphis, and we want to make sure that University of Memphis is able to move to a bigger conference. And, you know we have a limited amount of funds to achieve those goals. I want to work with them to figure out how can we get the capital stack such that both projects can be executed.
Yeah.
My final question for you, do you have any plans? I mean, one thing I have to say, at least from the debate we did with you and the 5 other candidates, is that everyone on that stage did care about the future of Memphis.
No question.
And I wonder, are there one or two of them, maybe more, who you would like to reach out to as you decide who's going to be a part of your administration where you might see a future for a good working relationship there? Any names you'd like to throw out there? Well,
I don't have any names, but I mean, I'm certainly open to working with anybody that wants to advance Memphis, and so I'm sure we'll have conversations with any of them that are interested in working with the city administration to do that. And I don't mean working as an employee, I mean working in collaboration with city administration.
But possibly a department head of some sort, or
they're qualified for it, we can have a conversation.
Okay, always open to conversation, which you're going to be having lots of.
Lots of,
in the next several months for sure. Well, good luck to you. I hope everything goes well as you lead up to the swearing in here and choose your transition team and all of that. And again, congratulations.
Thank you.
On being mayor-elect of the city of Memphis.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll be right back with my panel to talk about the rest of the election, break it down for you right after this.